Day 1. Arrival in Dubai. Skyscrapers, souks, sunset views. As the plane descended into Dubai International Airport, the landscape of sand transformed into steel and glass. The Burj Khalifa towered in the distance, like a futuristic needle touching the sky. Steve, beard trimmed and camera ready, stepped off the plane with a calm smile. Beside him, Sue adjusted her cream cap, eyes sparkling with excitement. Let's find out if Dubai is really as magical as they say. They checked into a modern hotel in downtown Dubai, their window offering a panoramic view of the city's glittering skyline. Moments later, they were out exploring. Their first stop was the Dubai Mall, a city within a city. They watched skaters on the ice rink, walked through the mesmerizing Dubai Aquarium tunnel, and tried local sweets at a stall. Sue got powdered sugar all over her shirt, and they burst into laughter. At sunset, they stepped outside to the Dubai fountain, just in time for the show. Water jets soared, dancing to Arabic melodies. Behind them, the Burj Khalifa shimmered, catching the golden light. Sue whispered, "This feels like we're living in the future." Day 2. Old Dubai meets new. Culture, gold, glimpses of the past. The second morning, they swapped modern glamour for heritage. Steve wore a linen scarf he picked up from the hotel boutique, blending stylishly with the vibe of old Dubai. Their journey began at Al Fahidi historical neighborhood, where beige wind towers stood against the blue sky. They wandered the narrow lanes of the restored district, visiting museums and art galleries. Sue sketched a quaint coffee house shaded by date palms. Then came the Dubai Museum at Al Fahidi Fort, where interactive exhibits brought pearl diving and Bedouin traditions to life. Later, they crossed Dubai Creek on an Abra, wooden boat. Steve snapped photos as Sue tossed breadcrumbs to the birds. In the gold souk, they marveled at the intricate displays.
Sue tried on an oversized gold necklace for fun. "A little much," she joked, her reflection sparkling like royalty.
By late afternoon, they headed to Jumeirah beach, kicking off shoes and laughing as the cool Gulf water touched their feet. Desert in the morning, beach by night, Steve said. Where else can you do that?
Day 3. Dunes, camels, desert magic. Today was all about adventure. Dressed in light layers and sneakers, Steve and Sue were picked up for a desert safari. As they drove out of the city, the skyline melted into endless sand dunes. Their 4x4 raced across the dunes in a thrilling dune-bashing ride.
Sue screamed with joy, holding Steve's hand tightly. "We're in a roller coaster made of sand!"
Later, they rode camels toward a Bedouin-style camp where the sun dipped low, painting the dunes in hues of orange and red. The night came alive with a fire show, belly dancing, and a traditional Emirati dinner under the stars. Steve tried falafel, while Sue fell in love with fresh dates dipped in tahini.
As they lay on a carpeted cushion, warm tea in hand, Steve pointed at the stars. We're thousands of miles from home, but this feels like a story we've always known.
Sue nodded, sketching a silhouette of their camel against the desert sunset. Day 4. Abu Dhabi. Grandeur, serenity, spiritual splendor. A luxury bus took them to Abu Dhabi, the capital, where modernity met majestic calm. Their first stop was the breathtaking Sheikh Zayed. Grand Mosque's white marble domes, gold-tipped minarets, and endless reflective pools were awe-inspiring. They wore respectful attire provided by the tour, and their steps echoed in reverence across the white floors. Sue was entranced by the floral mosaic patterns and crystal chandeliers. Steve quietly took photos, each frame more beautiful than the last. Next was the Louvre Abu Dhabi, a masterpiece on the water. The dome's rain of light effect made them feel as though they stood beneath starlight. Inside, they admired ancient sculptures and futuristic installations. Lunch was served at a modern cafe overlooking the water. Sue tried camel milk ice cream, wrinkling her nose but grinning through it. They spent the evening walking the Corniche, the sea breeze soft and cool. The skyline lit up behind them, mirrored in the calm waters. Day 5. Ferrari World, Unexpected Thrills. Their second day in Abu Dhabi was all about excitement and surprises. They visited Ferrari World on Yas Island, home to the world's fastest roller coaster. Steve, always the daredevil, couldn't wait. Sue, less sure, hesitated.
"I'll do it, she said finally, eyes wide. Moments later, they rocketed at 240 Golnimay Saushir, screaming and laughing through the blur of red and speed.
After the adrenaline faded, they explored the theme park, played virtual racing games, and bought matching red Ferrari caps. Steve's beard stuck out from under his comically small hat. Sue laughed so hard, she dropped her souvenir bag. Later, they stopped at Qasr al-Watan, the presidential palace, marveling at its grandeur and deep cultural storytelling through architecture and design. Dinner was at Emirati House Restaurant, where they shared a plate of matchbooks and stewed lamb. A friendly waiter gave Sue a handwritten recipe. She tucked it into her journal with care. Day 6. Back to Dubai. Skyview's sweet endings back in Dubai for their final day. Steve and Sue made it count. First up, at the top, Burj Khalifa. They ascended in seconds to the 148th floor, where the entire city looked like a scale model below. Sue pointed out landmarks they'd visited. Steve focused his lens and took one final panoramic shot. They explored City Walk and visited the quirky Museum of the Future, where immersive exhibits sparked their imagination. For lunch, they dined at the famous Pierchic restaurant, a wooden deck stretching into the sea with views of the Burj Al Arab. They laughed over grilled prawns and reminisced over favorite moments. That evening, they walked along the Dubai Marina, watching yachts cruise by as the skyline shimmered. Street performers entertained tourists, and the smell of fresh popcorn drifted through the cool air. Sue opened her journal one last time, sketching the marina lights.
Steve looked over and smiled. We didn't just take a trip. We wrote a chapter of our lives.
In the airport lounge, Steve scrolled through photos while Sue flipped through her journal. Her last page showed a sketch of the Burj Khalifa, stars around it, and trip of a lifetime scribbled beneath. A child next to them peeked curiously at her drawing.
Sue smiled and handed him a blank page. Want to make your memory? As the boarding call echoed, they stood, hand in hand, hearts full.
We came to see the future, Steve said, and found a piece of ourselves.